On July 18, 2007, Barbara Bolick disappeared when hiking, never to be seen from or heard from again. The most shocking thing is that she was approximately 30 feet away from her hiking partner, who was facing the direction they came from, when she mysteriously vanished without a trace. In this video, we will look into the intriguing case of Barbara Bolick to try and understand what happened. A fun hiking experience turned sour. Barbara Bolick became very fond of Montana's Bitterroot Mountains the first time she saw them. The 55-year-old lady was particularly in love with the hiking trail that went to the Bear Creek Overlook near Victor in Montana. On the morning of July 18, 2007, which was on a Wednesday, Barbara had promised to take Donna, a family member, and Jim Raymaker, a family friend, on a hike to her favorite place at the Bear Creek Overlook. Unknown to her and her family members, this would be the last time she would be hiking or anybody would see her. The original plan was to take Jim and his girlfriend, Donna Biles, on the morning hike. Carl was Barbara's husband and Donna was his cousin. Donna, together with her boyfriend Jim, had come from California to Montana to visit Barbara and Carl. Both Jim and Donna were excited about the hike and were looking forward to it. Carl had previously suffered from a heart attack and he could not be a part of the hike. Thus, he would be left behind taking care of dinner, while the trio went hiking. The trio had planned to leave very early on Wednesday morning. However, on the morning of the hike, Donna woke up feeling unwell and she decided to skip the hike. Thus, Barbara and Jim went on a hike alone. The course leading up to the Bear Creek trailhead was being repaired. Thus, the duo was forced to park a short distance away and maneuver through the construction site to reach the trail. When they got to the trail, they completed the hike successfully and reached the scenic overlook at the top of the trail. Since they were tired and hunger was starting to kick in, Barbara and Jim sat down and shared a snack at the top of the trail. They even met another pair of hikers who had reached the overlook before them with their dog and exchanged pleasantries with them. They stayed at the overlook for 30 minutes, enjoying the views and resting before heading back. When they were rested enough to start hiking again, Barbara and Jim began their way down at about 11:30 a.m. On their way down the trail, Jim stopped quickly to get a last look at the beautiful view. He approximated that Barbara would be about 20 or 30 miles ahead of him. Shockingly, when he turned back to continue down the trail, he could not see her anywhere. The baffling disappearance. When Jim did not see Barbara ahead, he continued down the trail, hoping to catch up with her. However, he did not locate her. Jim was very confused by her unexpected disappearance since she was an experienced hiker, and she would never stray off the trail. He called out for her repeatedly but got no response. The duo was hiking on the part of the trail that had loose shale rocks, which crunched loudly when one hiked, but Jim could not hear any noise at all. He whistled, attempting to catch Barbara's attention, but he didn't get any response either. Bewildered, he continued to move down the trail, hoping he would bump into Barbara along the way. To his dismay, Jim reached the trailhead without much luck in finding Barbara. Unsure of his next move, he reached out to the construction workers and sought their help in looking for his hiking partner. One of the workers gave him his phone so he could alert the authorities about the missing person. The investigations. Barbara's case was first taken up by the U.S. Forest Service Rangers, since the Bear Creek Overlook Trail is within the Bitterroot National Forest. The Rangers began a search immediately and scoured the rough and bumpy terrain for any clues that would bring light on the missing case. One of the Rangers called Carl and informed him of his wife's disappearance. However, they assured him that they were highly confident that they could find her. He was shocked by the disappearance news, since his wife had hiked this several times before and was highly familiar with the trail and the entire area. He began the 20-mile drive to the trailhead immediately, hoping that his wife would be there when he arrived. However, his heart dropped when he arrived and was informed that the search had yielded no signs of Barbara. The search continued that night by several rescue and search groups, together with search dogs. Helicopters equipped with the thermal and infrared devices were also brought in to help and scan the area from above. They didn't find anything to indicate that Barbara was still within the area. Carl waited for the search party until midnight at the trailhead entrance, but the police convinced him to go home and rest. Although he was devastated at the thought of leaving without any conclusive evidence, he agreed to leave for a few hours and returned the next morning, accompanied by neighbors and friends who were willing to help with the search efforts. Barbara's physical search continued for 2 weeks, where professional rescue and search groups and volunteers completed searches of the entire area. However, despite utilizing every possible resource at their disposal, they found no trace or any clue that could hint about her whereabouts. The authorities announced that the physical search would come to an end after 2 weeks, with no success, but investigations of the disappearance would continue. The detectives handling the case were particularly interested in talking to the men that Barbara and Jim had met at the trail the day she vanished. The investigators made it clear that the men would not be questioned as suspects, but as potential witnesses who might have seen something helpful that day. Besides, they were the only people who could confirm that Barbara was indeed on the trail on the fateful day she vanished. Despite a detailed description being published in the local newspapers, the men did not come forward. Neither did anyone claim to know them. Barbara's family even went a mile further and offered a $10,000 reward for any information concerning their identity, but still, no one came forward. The Ravalli County Sheriff's Office also offered a $5,000 reward for any information about Barbara's disappearance or her whereabouts. However, none of the tips called in brought the investigators any closer to solving the mysterious disappearance. What really happened to Barbara Bolick? The theories. Foul play was one of the theories that people came up with in an attempt to explain the disappearance. Jim, being the last person to see Barbara, fell under immediate suspicion and interrogation. He cooperated with the authorities completely, and he was ready to take a polygraph examination to tell his account of what happened. Ravalli County Sheriff's Office officials did not believe that foul play was involved because there were no signs of a struggle, such as shreds of clothing, blood stains, or drag marks. Other people theorized that Barbara may have been attacked by a mountain lion or a bear. However, the speculation did not hold ground because Jim did not hear her cries, given she vanished a few feet from him and there lacked evidence of animal activity. Additionally, being an experienced hiker, Barbara equipped herself with a .357 Magnum that she carried when hiking, in case she ran into a dangerous animal. As weeks turned into months without any information about Barbara's whereabouts, some people began wondering if she had staged her disappearance so that she could start a new life elsewhere. Her family and friends rubbished the claim since Barbara had not carried any of her personal belongings, such as money, passports, identification, clothing, and other personal items, when going on the hike the day she vanished. Additionally, Barbara was happy with her life, and she had begun taking flying lessons and was looking forward to being a private pilot. Barbara and her husband Carl had scheduled a cruise to the Mexican Riviera. Thus, she had so much to look forward to. She also had a dog and close family members and friends who pointed out that she would never leave without her. During the time of her disappearance, in 2007, Barbara was 55 years old, 5 feet tall, and weighed 115 pounds. She was last seen wearing a pastel-colored blouse and tan shorts, and she was carrying a black backpack that contained a .357 Magnum. To this day, over a decade later, there's still no information about the disappearance of Barbara, and her family holds on to hope that she will be found someday. So what do you think happened to Barbara? Let us know in the comment section. Also, don't forget to check out more intriguing stories on our channel. Thanks for watching.